Hello and welcome to Katrina's Creations. This is our Wednesday episode, which today is going to be a tutorial on applying I-cord edging to a knitted or crocheted project. Now, I-cord edging is a tubular finishing method that gives it a nice finished look. It creates a smooth edge to your work. Let me show it to you on my cozy memory blanket. You can see it here. And it is rounded. This particular edging, it also gives it a nice smooth, like I said, it's a finished look. This same type of edging process can be applied to a hem, to a sleeve, to the collar of a sweater, anything like that, and it just gives it a nice polished look at the edge. It can be applied to knitted as well as crocheted projects, and that's what we're going to learn today. So stay tuned and we'll get started. Now, in order to do an I-cord edging, you are going to need a set of circular knitting needles. I am using a US size 6 because the squares that I have knitted are done with fingering to sock weight, and I actually used a size 5 for this. So I am using a size 6 for my edging. And you could do an I-cord edging for crochet or for knitting because it all involves the same process of picking up stitches along the edge. So even if this were to be crocheted and you wanted to attach an I-cord edging, you would need to use knitting needles in order to do the I-cord edging, but you could pick up your stitches along the edge of your crochet work as well. I'm going to insert some footage of how to pick up the stitches along the edge of your work. You would be picking it up from the right side and bringing the yarn through from the back to the front and loading them onto your knitting needles. So like I said, I will insert a little bit of footage here of how to do that. I'm first going to demonstrate how to pick up the stitches on a knitted project. So you're going to have some yarn, and you're going to, with the right side facing you, you're going to go down through the front of the work. You're going to use your knitting needle almost like a crochet hook. You could even use a crochet hook if you wanted to. You're going to grab it and pull that back up and slide it right onto the needle. You're going to continue picking up stitches, going in through a stitch here, grabbing the thread, pulling it through, and sliding it onto the needle. Go to the next stitch. See if I can pull this down closer for you. You're going to put the knitting needle through the stitch, grab the yarn behind it, and pull it through and onto the knitting needle. And you're going to go across your entire work this way. Again, going down through the front, grabbing the yarn from behind, pulling it back up through and onto the needle. So you would do this for the length of your I-cord, however long you want it to be. You're going to go all the way across. Now let me show you how to do it if you are attaching I-cord to crochet. So we'll say this is my crochet work. I'm going to just remove the hook. I'm going to, again, slide the knitting needle into the first loop. And just like the knitting, with the crochet facing right side toward me, I'm going to go through the next stitch. Just like before, grab the yarn, pull it through, and onto the needle. Again, I'm going to put it through grab it, pull it through, and onto the needle. That's all there is to loading stitches, and then you would proceed with the I-cord process that we will talk about next. Now let's take a look at a close-up look at I-cord edging so you can see what it actually is going to be doing. As you can see here, it has a rolled edge, and I like it because it's a nice finished look to apply to shawls or anything else. It rolls around to the back. So it is just like a rolled cord that gets attached to the edge of your project. So now let's take a look at how to do this. Once you have all of the stitches loaded onto your needle, you're going to begin by casting on 3 more stitches. So we're going to do the cast on here. There is 1, 2, and 3. So you have 3 additional stitches. You only do this at the beginning. After that, you won't have to do it any longer. You're going to knit the first 2 stitches. So there is 1 and 2. The third cast on stitch, you are going to slip as if to knit. So you don't want to go this direction. You want to do it as if you were knitting, but you're not going to bring the yarn around. You're just going to slide it to the right needle, and then you are going to knit that 4th stitch. So you now have 4 stitches sitting on your right needle. The stitch that you slipped, that 3rd stitch, you're now going to lift up and over the 4th stitch, like that. Now you now have 3 stitches on this needle. You're just going to slide them back to the left needle. And now you're going to repeat the same process. You're going to knit 2, 1 and 2. You're going to slip the 3rd stitch, and then you're going to knit the 4th stitch. There's 4 stitches on the needle. These are not the same 4 as before. You've actually decreased by a stitch. So here's your 4. You're going to pick up 3rd stitch and slip it over the 4th. Slip all 3 stitches back to the left needle. And when you do so, you might notice they're a little bit loose. So you just want to kind of give the back part here just a little bit of a tug. You don't want it to be real tight, but you just want it to be snug. So again, you're going to knit 2 stitches, slip the 3rd stitch, knit the 4th stitch, pass that 3rd stitch over the 4th, transfer all 3 stitches to the left. So we're going to do this a few more times and then take a look at what it looks like. Let's take a look at how our work looks. I've been doing this for a while, so you can see that I've turned the corner. But you can see what a nice crisp edge it gives. And you can see the rolled edges right here. So let's do a couple more stitches together. Again, we're going to knit 1, knit 2, slip the 3rd stitch, knit the 4th, pass the 3rd over the 4th, and then slip all 3 stitches back to the left needle. What causes it to roll as you go is when you've slipped these 3 stitches back onto this left needle, if you look at the back, the yarn is actually coming from this stitch. So when you begin knitting at this, the 1st stitch, the yarn is actually being carried across the 2 stitches in the back. So it kind of pulls them together as you do the knitting and transferring them back and forth from one needle to the other. So that's what causes it to actually curl and form the tube. So we'll do a couple more times. Knit 1, knit 2, pass the 3rd stitch, knit the 4th, pass the 3rd stitch over the 4th, slide all 3 stitches to the left, and don't forget to pull it just snug. Again, you don't want to pull it tightly, but you just want to pull it snug so that you don't have any loose stitches along this edge. So I hope you found this helpful and that you enjoy doing the I-cord binding to the edges of your projects. Thanks again for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you Saturday.